Population and genetic fund security is a guarantee of Mongolia's sustainability. Teacher A. Bat-Erdene. Introduction. Article 16.1 of the second chapter of the Constitution of Mongolia on Human Rights and Freedom states, citizens of Mongolia have the right to life. Article 16.2 of the Constitution of Mongolia, the right to live in a healthy and safe environment. Article 19, paragraph 1. The state shall be ensured the protection of human rights and freedoms and responsible to its citizens for providing legal and other guarantees, combating violations of human rights and freedoms, and restoring the violated rights. That is, the government of Mongolia shall ensure the right to life of its citizens and live in a healthy and safe environment. It is the highest idea to ensure the security of the population's genetic security by providing guarantees. According to the national security concept of Mongolia. According to the national security concept of Mongolia, population and genetic security, the health and sustainable growth of the population of Mongolia, which is required by law to ensure security protected. This is an important component of many of its roles, part of its responsibilities. The issue of population and genetic security is an important problem related to the security of Mongolia's existence and, in general, is a vital component of Mongolia's national security. Security of the population and genetic means that the health of the population of Mongolia, the genetic and sustainable growth is maintained and protected. This is an important part of the Mongolia government's many legal obligations to ensure the security of its citizens. Mongolians know their surnames to prevent incestuous marriages, adheres to the principle of celibacy within the tribe, maintains genealogy. It was wonderfully cultured people who inherited their children orally and in writing, and forbade intermarriage within 9 generations. For example, married couples may be 4th generation siblings. The groundwork for this type of inbreeding is already in place. Young people who get married say that we are not related by blood. There is a habit of becoming a family in the dark orientation. Recently, there has been a similar level of inbreeding in the Mongolian population, which is reflected in the marriages of siblings of the 3rd and 4th generation. Today, the internal balance of the population's genetic fund has been seriously disturbed and has reached the level of national security. Today, marriage does not take at the level of grandparents, but the fact that inbreeding has already entered the level of great-grandparents shows that it is really serious. basic condition for ensuring the genetic fund and health security of the population is to maintain the internal balance. When the genetic fund of a population is in balance, it means the genes are in equilibrium during the phenomenon of homogeneity or hematopoiesis. Genetic discrimination is an internal balance when the phenomenon of genetic mutilation is at about 50-50%. If the genetic fund of the population is homogeneous, or the phenomenon of blood coagulation is prevalent, and the phenomenon of blood mixing is reduced, the internal balance of the genetic fund is disturbed and the blood of the population begins to converge. Mongolian Genetic Fund and Health Security. Current state of alcoholism and drug abuse. Mongolia is in the top 5 in terms of alcohol consumption in the world. The World Health Organization has highlighted this and marked our country in red on the world map. The red color indicates that alcoholism has reached catastrophic levels. But how can we be shocked and accept it? If the prevalence of alcoholism affects 6% of the population, considered at the level of national security, there is a global standard for national security. 10 years ago, we exceeded this limit. The number of deaths caused by alcohol poisoning and the percentage of alcohol-related offenses have not decreased. The prevalence of alcoholism is over 20% of its population. Alcoholism is the third cause of death in Mongolian people. Doctors say that Mongolians absorb alcohol 3 times less than Europeans. But the per person consumption of alcohol is 8.2 liters, which is a number exceeding the world average in Mongolia. Alcohol affects not only the fetus of pregnant women, but also reproductive health of girls and women, knowing that has a negative effect. They are confessing their head in alcohol, one of 10 black sins. There is a high probability of having a child with a birth defect if a pregnant woman consumes alcohol, and women of childbearing age are at risk of infertility. Researchers have found out that if a breastfeeding woman drinks alcohol, it can affect the baby's mind through breast milk. Under the General Authority for Judgment Enforcement, the 3,384 patients treated at the involuntary hospital, many of them were women in the last 6 years. In our country, which has the world's highest number of users and illicit trafficking, has a small population, and the majority of the population is children and young people, without strict policies against drugs and psychotropic substances. National security law enforcement agencies, health professionals, and academics all agree that the situation is likely to cause enormous damage to health and the gene pool. Experts and researchers from law enforcement agencies and health organizations are speaking with one voice about our country, with neighboring countries, which have the highest number of consumers and illicit trafficking in the world. Factors that may adversely affect the security of the population and genetic fund. External factor 1. Radioactive substances through the air, water, and soil, chemical pollution, acid rain, outbreaks of highly contagious disease. 2. The environment, the international labor schedule, production harmful to human health. 3. Foreign trade policy, public health due to weak control over the quality of imported goods. Foods that negatively affect heredity, chemical, and consumer goods. B. Internal factors. 1. Outbreaks of highly contagious human and animal diseases. 2. Inbreeding adversely affects the Mongolian gene pool, in particular a lack of balance between the number of people with mental retardation and mental illness, exceeding the world average. 3. The prevalence of alcoholism has a negative impact on the health and the gene pool of the population. 4. Loss of age-sex ratio of the population. 5. Famine and malnutrition among the population. Shortage and pollution of drinking and fresh water supply. 6. Domestic producers violate hygiene and other established standards. Food harmful to human health. Consumer goods. To produce and sell products without any control. 7. Adversely affect the mental health and gene pool of the population due to violation of chemical handling regulations. The way to ensure population and genetic fund security. 1. To develop and implement a comprehensive state policy aimed at ensuring the genetic fund, health, and sustainable population growth of Mongolians. To revive the genealogical tradition based on the initiative of the people, to make everyone know the family name and 7 to 9 generations about them. 2. To make prevention the basis of the state policy and activities to protect the health of the population. 3. To prioritize the prevention of all adverse effects on the Mongolian genetic fund, such as inbreeding, alcoholism, and drug addiction, and to conduct a comprehensive study of the Mongolian people and population. Implement policies to prevent and diagnose mental retardation and mental illnesses, and ensure the psychological security of the population. 4. To establish a control system to prevent radioactive and chemical pollution, biological contamination, and diseases caused by them located in the border areas of neighboring countries. 5. To prohibit business activities through the importation into the territory of Mongolia of highly toxic chemical and biological materials that have direct or residual effect on human genetics and human health, as well as by burying and processing foreign toxic waste. 6. Constantly monitor the prevalence and frequency of hereditary diseases, disabilities, and mental retardation in the population. 7. To monitor the accumulation of chemicals in the environment that may adversely affect the human genetic fund. Conclusion. The issue of population and genetic fund security is an important problem related to the security of Mongolians' existence, and it is a vital issue that will have a significant impact on Mongolians' national security in general. In particular, the incidence and level of alcoholism and drug abuse among Mongolians, as well as the current state of affairs, are most important issues that need to be addressed as a matter of urgency and national security. We have the main problem is that Mongolians, our chaotic lifestyle is affecting the security of the Mongolian genetic fund. Unfortunately, we do not quite understand the phenomenon of inbreeding is widespread. Alcoholism due to drug abuse poses a threat to the gene pool, because we have lost a beautiful ancient tradition that we knew of 9 generations.